Hello everyone and welcome back to Best of the Month. This is where a bunch of creators come together to talk about some hopefully great board games. There's a lot of variety from all the different picks. Some are brand new games, some have been out for years. And let's jump into the first pick from the Boxed Meeples.
Hi, I'm Libby, this is Julian, and together we make up Boxed Meeples. Today we are talking about our favourite games that we played in the month of May.
Now, the favourite game I have picked this month isn't entirely a new game, but it is new to us, and it's certainly new to my daughters. It's Andor, the family fantasy game. Now, the reason I've picked this is not for the amount of enjoyment I had, but it's the amount of enjoyment that they had. We played the first few rounds of this, and we've played obviously many games similar to this, including obviously the original Legend of Andor. But this game from Cosmos really ignited their enthusiasm for the game. If, in case anyone doesn't know, it's quite a simple kind of adventure game where you're playing kind of fantasy types, you know, the usual wizard and archer and dwarf, and you're going around completing objectives before you can then complete a larger objective. Now, there are kind of 4 different scenarios in this box, but then you can mix it up and play it again and again afterwards. And the gameplay was very simple, quick for us to explain to them.
They were certainly sucked in by the fact that you have to save some wolf pups.
That helped.
So the whole thematic thread of having to go and find the pups and save them, I mean, that just won them over immediately, let alone the sort of mechanisms that were new to them.
Yeah, and we have played kind of cooperative games in the past. We've talked about Star Wars The Clone Wars is the one that immediately springs to mind. So we've played quite a lot of cooperative games. Which works quite well, I think, for family modes, because then, you all win or you all lose. There's no kind of big loser and win. But what was great about this is they were making their own decisions. We would discuss as we went, I think it'd be good if the dwarf did this because you can get through the tunnels, or it'd be good if the wizard fought that foe because, they're more likely to get an instant kill from them. But they were able to make their own decisions as they went.
Yeah, and it was interesting to see that sort of click and then make those decisions before someone suggests, we could do this because of that, or we could do that. They were then saying, well, I'll do that because I'm good at such and such. And it was so nice to see them sort of realise what their specialty is and how to double down on it.
But the real magic moment came at the end of one of the scenarios. We had to find one more wolf pup to win, and we had the dragon, which is basically a counter for how long you have left, a few spots away from the town. We were then revealing the counters in the mine. If it was a dragon revealed and you rolled a dice and it's more than 2, we would have lost. But if we turned over that token and it was a wolf, we would have won. And I could feel the kind of palpable excitement in the air as we flipped over that token to see if we're going to be successful or if we're going to lose. And when we got to reveal it, and it was the wolf pup, they leapt out of their chairs. They were so excited.
They were practically dancing around the table.
I missed that feeling because the more games we play, the more we kind of get used to that excitement feeling, and it gets diluted. But for them, it was kind of just raw and real, and it was so wonderful to see them experience that, to experience the things that we love about playing board games, and that just made us want to play it more and more. And even still, when during the week they're saying, could we play Andor again the weekend? And they're deciding to come up with the character names and things like that. And it's always great when you don't feel like you're encouraging people to join in your hobby, but they're actually asking to participate. And I had so many special moments with this game that I just wasn't expecting. So yeah, thoroughly big thumbs up for Andor, the family fantasy game. And if we had played this as extensively, it would have been in our recent list we did of top 10 children's games for older children. It would have certainly been in there.
Yeah, it was a little bit late to the party, that one. And talking of late to the party, I've probably been slightly late to the party on Wonderland's War. But we got it to the table this month for the first time. I picked up a copy at AirCon and was very pleased to do so. And just really enjoyed it. I think sort of worth the hype. It's got so many different elements in it that I really found to be super, super fun. I love that sort of, we call it a ratchet system, don't you, where you can move forward but then you have to go around in the timer of whilst you're at the tea party trying to get these different cards, And of course, there's that sort of push your luck pulling from the bag, and that fun of sort of 1, 2, 3 reveal of your tokens as you're warring away with your other Wonderlandians. And there's so many nice choices you can choose to sort of, can you pick some Wonderlandians to help you? Are you going to upgrade your character and let them do more interesting things, and they become more and more asymmetric the more you do that? And their special powers are really interesting. You know, someone needs to take a shard. Oh no, you take 2 because you did this, and that's my power. Or whatever it happens to be. I mean, Alice goes the opposite way to everyone else.
I really like the one who drops in the poison, because then they go in the bag and you kind of forget that they're there until you annoyingly pull it out. It's like, oh, you poisoned me like 2 rounds ago.
Yeah, I just think so many fun things going on, so many like different decisions, so many elements of this game that sort of make up as a whole. You've got the tea party stage, you've got the warring stage, and you're also kind of thinking about who's joining your party, how am I upgrading, and am I unlocking my discs along the side, all these things that you're trying to do, but it meshes really well together. And the artwork I absolutely adore. I think the colours are so amazing, and we just had a lot of fun, as I say, especially in that chip pulling stage. I really the drama hikes up.
Yeah, the spectacle of that, and have similar games like Quacks. You're drawing them individually, and there isn't that kind of big spectacle of everyone dropping them and revealing them. Even when you bluff and you're pretending, am I going to participate? Oh, I've not dropped anything. I'm out of this battle.
Yeah, those moments are amazing.
And the tension of knowing that push your luck element of do I stick in this battle hoping to win, or do I bail out now to kind of get the rewards? I think there's so many cunning mechanisms that gel together.
And that timing of, because you're going to be doing probably several battles around that you've sort of got your parties in. So are you sort of half-heartedly going into one to sort of maybe meet a mission that you just finish on an even number or something simple like that, but everyone thinks that you might be going in guns blazing for that one, when actually you're holding fire, trying to keep as many tokens as you can in order to do the next battle along the way, or you're hoping to push everything only to refresh your bag so that you can go in further with a fresh bag full of stuff, know that you're going to be one of the strongest ones in for that one. So all those little elements going on is just so fun.
It's I can see why people are so excited about this and why it's had the good praise. And obviously you didn't get the super deluxe one.
No.
But I think this kind of base version still looks pretty special.
Yeah, it really does. Yeah. We might get a few sort of like token things for the capsules, so we'll see what happens. Watch this space with that. But yeah, it was super fun. I can see us playing it again and again, and it really brings that like fun vibe to the table, even though it's a gritty game. So yeah, my game for May.
Hi, I'm Josh from the YouTube channel Joshyaks, and my game of the month for April is going to be Battles of Westeros. Now, going all the way back to 2003, when I started to get back into the modern board gaming hobby, one of the very first campaign-style games that I started to get into was a game called Battle Cry. This turns out to be the first game in a family of games that ended up being called the Commands and Colors series. And after Battle Cry, Memoir 44 came out, I played a friend's copy a couple of times and enjoyed that, but then the original edition of Battlelore was released and I immediately picked that up. I was really into the historical 100 Years War aspect of that game, not so much into the fantasy side of it, but I got really into Battlelore, picked up all the historical stuff that I could get hold of, played it a whole bunch, and then going on down the road a few more years, eventually Battles of Westeros was released. By the time I ended up looking into it, however, it was already a dead system, and so basically all the Battles of Westeros stuff was on really crazy clearance prices, so I ultimately ended up picking up everything that is available for the Battle of Westeros series, and this was even before I knew anything about the whole Game of Thrones, Song of Ice and Fire stuff. I never read the books, and even though this should have really been, in my opinion, the pinnacle of the Commands and Colors games, I think one reason it fizzled out was it was originally released in 2010, a full year before the TV show came on the air in 2011. So although they did continue to release expansions throughout 2011 and 2012 for the game, it hit the market before the whole series really took off in the public sphere. Another thing I think that hurt it was the typically terrible Fantasy Flight rule books. In fact, if you play the game, you really need to go to the files on BGG and download the completely rewritten rulebook that was rewritten by a fan of the game, which I helped to edit a little bit back when he was writing it, and it really helps to make the gameplay easier and clear up a lot of little issues. The final thing that made it, I guess, less approachable on a large scale is the fact that it is definitely a step up in complexity in comparison to the previous Commands and Colors games. The one thing I think that really made them popular was the simplicity and the approachability of the systems. Battles of Westeros takes that up a notch and adds some more complexity, but that's ultimately what made me settle on this particular game in the series as the one that I wanted to stick with. Yeah, you're still playing cards to maneuver your troops on the board and chucking lots of dice to see what happens, but there is a lot of really interesting tactical stuff going on behind the scenes now, and it's a game I enjoy quite a lot still. With the way my game tastes have naturally morphed and changed over the years, I'm not sure that I enjoy it quite as much as I did back in the day, but I've been very excited to finally get it back to the table again after quite a long time away from it. And it was definitely my highlight for the month of April. Cheers.
Hey boardies, welcome to Amass Games. My name is Simon. Today we're talking about Best of the Month for May 2023. This game is a game that came out a few years ago. It's a family weight game, as it's literally written on the box. It's called Sagrada. It's a game that takes under 1 hour to play. Everything's ready to go in the box. It's a bag of dice, 90 of them, lots of different colours, rolling them. You have objectives, public objectives, you have private objectives. And what you're looking to do is ultimately get the highest score. Yes, we are constructing the Sagrada Familia, 250 years at time of development, and it's still not completed. I have been to it and it's still got horrible big cranes up in the air. It's by a couple of Canadian designers, Daryl Andrews and Adrian Adonescu, and there are numerous expansions as well. I do have one of them, but I've yet to play it. It will go in my expansions playlist. This is going I had a setup and review playlist. Very beautiful to look at. People think about Azul, you're going to think about this right up there in terms of a very pretty abstract strategy combinatorial game. It's not combinatorial because there's dice, which means obviously things can keep on changing. You might not use all the dice. There'll be a dice distancing video as well. And yeah, hopefully you will find this of interest if it's something you want to pick up. This was played and taught to someone who'd heard about this game but yet to experience it. So hence it being played in the month of May and therefore being eligible for Best of the Month for this particular month. So aside from that, what else is there to say? Well, you can get custom inserts. You can have the dice actually separated, which makes no sense because you have more than one bag anyway. It is a game whereby the publisher, that is Floodgate Games, who have made Holy as well, which you may have spotted on the shelf behind me. It's another game whereby it's very beautiful artwork and they've gone for that abstract strategy with a theme. So they're quite well known for doing those kind of things. Educational, very much a family game, as they like to say. I think it's a bit amateur writing family on the box because I think it can be, in this instance, it's more of a gamer's game. It's a gateway game. I don't know how much children play with it. Do you know? By all means, please do let me know. But it is a game whereby you're literally rolling dice and you're thinking, okay, where can I place this? Now, the first time I played this, I gave it a 6 out of 10, which is below average for my average rating of 6.37. Having said that, it is a game which is quite smooth. I'm not saying it's as cathartic as the likes of Tokaido, but it is a game whereby it is nice pushing things together. That's where Floodgate come into it, because they were involved in the development to say, right, let's use these Sagrada windows, and then you push your card inside of it and decide the difficulty, and you can play with various glass beads, which allow you to take more potential actions to flip things over. So each game is different because you're going to have options to mitigate those dice as well. So if you're not into luck, you're not into dice, don't worry about that. You have a chance to actually react and develop it. So there we are. That has been Best of the Month. Look forward to speaking to them for next month for June. Who knows how many games I've played? 41 different games so far in this month. Who knows about next month? But for now, back to the table.
Hi, I'm Lola.
I'm Sean.
And we are Inspired to Game. Today we're going to tell you our favorite play for May. Okay, I'm going to pull it out here. It's heavy, it's big, and it's heavy. Dun da da da! It is Nemesis Lockdown. So this is a game that we actually got for our anniversary. We had our anniversary on the 28th of May. We've been together since 1995, and this is how we celebrated. Nemesis Lockdown is a second game, a standalone expansion to the Nemesis core game, which is basically Aliens. This one takes place on Mars, and the aliens have infested this facility on Mars, and you are trying to escape or do whatever you need to do based on your objectives.
There is a lot to it. It's semi-cooperative, where you're trying to get out, and maybe on the way you're trying to mess up the other guy so you get out alone because that's your objective. But maybe it's not. Maybe you're all trying to get out and save each other. Who knows?
Well, and we play this is our anniversary present. We did play it fully cooperatively, so we have heard that with a 2-player game it does play a little bit better fully cooperatively, and there's a little less hard feelings when we play it fully cooperatively, and it's a hard enough game as it is. But this is exciting. There's so much going on, and you have to go into it expecting to die horrible deaths and trying to figure out, well, let's see how we die this time. But amazingly, we actually played it twice, and we lived through both games, or at least I did. But because it was cooperative, we only needed one of us to survive, and in both cases we just needed me, and it was all good, and we both won anyway. So
yeah. It lends itself to having some great stories. It's a game that at the end you had an experience, whether you won or lost. You're going to have some great things to discuss with people.
Yeah, there really is a lot going on with this one, and it makes it fun as the stories that you tell. It is hard to win, but it's always an adventure. With this, we also picked it up with the Kickstarter expansion, which if you can get it with that, we recommend it. That has a whole new race, the chytrids, which are like a plant fungal based wonderful infestation that you get to deal with, which is really exciting to do as well. So we do plan on doing a review of this on our channel coming up, hopefully within the next couple of weeks. If you are interested in that, keep an eye on our channel and check it out.
Hey everyone, Clay here from Beer City Board Games. My favorite game that I played in May was Ostia. Now, unfortunately, this is a game that I don't own myself, but we were lucky enough to have some friends teach us, and my wife and I both really enjoyed it. This is a Mancala-style game in a similar vein as Trajan or Crusaders Thy Will Be Done, but Ostia is much more streamlined. You still have plenty of decisions to make on your turn, but the number of options is pared back a bit so that it isn't nearly as complex, which really allows the puzzle of the Mancala to shine through. I also love the way that this game looks on the table. Very clean and elegant looking. I'm hoping that they do another Kickstarter for this game so that I can add it to my shelf. So that's my favorite game that I played in May, Ostia.
Well, this month I have been playing a whole load of games. I certainly played a lot at UK Games Expo. Please check out my coverage of what I played and my haul. Links will be somewhere for those. But there's one game that I have played a lot of this month, and I think versus games that I super enjoyed with one play, a game that can hit the table numerous times throughout the whole month, that's what I've got to give my pick to, and that is Sweet and Spicy. This is the sequel to Spicy, and if you haven't seen my review, they're kind of the same game with a few minor tweaks. And I really enjoy those tweaks. But this is a bluffing game where even people that don't like bluffing games have a chance. Because you're playing cards, obviously, normally, fibbing a little bit of a white lie of what your card is. You might say this is a 9 of lemons. Well, it might be a lemon, but it might not be a 9 or the other way around, and people have to try and work it out. Are they going to call you out? Because if they do, they have to say, is it the right suit or the wrong suit or the wrong number? So even if you have lied, you can still get away with it. And there's a real satisfaction when you manage to play your cards in just the right way that you're going to be going out, get rid of all your hand on a card that you're not lying about. Because if you're putting the last card down, people really want to call you out. If you get rid of your hand, you get one of these 3+10 trophy. You get 2 of those trophies, you win outright. So people are definitely going to call you on the second one. But on the first one, people still want to, because 10 points is quite a lot. Now, if you get called out correctly, you draw 2 more cards into your hand and they get this huge pile of points. However, if they call you out and they're wrong, you're the one gaining all the points. And it's just really fast bluffing fun. If you want to know a bit more of the details, check out the review. But sweet and spicy, well, it's a sweet game with that spicy bluffing twist. What more can you want? Anyway, that's enough from me. On to MeeplePhD.
Hi, it's Barb, MeeplePhD, and my favorite play for May 2023 is The Goonies, Escape with One-Eyed Willie's Rich Stuff. So this is an escape room style game. It's a one and done type game, but we had a really good time pulling this out with some friends who are also fans of The Goonies. So it's a coded chronicle game. So it's one in a series. This is kind of the middle difficulty one. In these coded chronicle games, you start the game with a booklet for each of the different characters that you can play. In this one, you didn't actually even start with the standees. You had to find those first. But then as these standees move across the different maps, they interact with the objects on the maps in different ways. So one character actually explores. One does like a deciphering thing. Another one will do picking up or getting something, that sort of thing. So as you place your characters next to some of the objects, you'll get a unique number that'll be in their booklet, and you can look it up and read the entry, and then learn whatever you learn. But you'll learn different things from each of the different characters depending on how they interact with the object. So in this one, it's a fairly long game if you play end to end, which is what we decided to do. But there are a couple of points in the game where they give you save points. So you can pack it up and return to it later, which is really nice. One of the things that I really liked about the game is that each of the different booklets for the characters is written from their perspective and gives you a little taste of that character. So for example, Chunk, when you get to him, he goes off on these tangents of stories like he does in the movie. They really have tried to capture the characters a little bit in these booklets. One thing to know is that there can be a lot of reading in these. So if you're playing with a family, you might want to make sure that the characters have a lot of reading, and they give you a warning in the rules who those characters are. You know, might want to give those to the adults. We played with a bunch of adults, so we just, read whatever book was in front of us and had a lot of fun. So if you like escape room style games, I, have been enjoying these coded chronicles. Maybe you have a little nostalgia for The Goonies or Scooby-Doo like I do. You could give that one a try. Or The Shining. I haven't tried that one, so I can't vouch for it. But these were a lot of fun fun way to spend an afternoon. So that's me for this month. I will see you next month. In the meantime, you can check me out on Instagram and Twitter as MeeplePhD. I have my own YouTube channel where I connect astronomy and board games, also MeeplePhD, and I have a blog at MeeplePhD.com.
Hello, everybody. It's Chris and Angie from the Chasing Meeples podcast, and we are here to talk about our games of the month. Angie, do you remember what I said 2 months ago?
No, I don't remember last week.
Okay. Well, let me refresh your memory.
Widdly, widdly, widdly.
It doesn't work unless you do it with me.
Widdly, widdly, widdly.
Come on.
Widdly, widdly.
We only got like 3 minutes.
Widdly, widdly, widdly.
Come on. Just humor me.
Widdly, widdly, widdly.
Make the sound.
Honorable mention is a thing now. Like
Okay.
I'm just starting honorable
Okay.
mention for the month.
Okay.
All right. So that's what I said 2 months ago. And here we are with that honorable mention again. Breakdancing Meeples. This video is a hot mess, but we're keeping it. Because that's what we do. We're real on the Chasing Meeples podcast. Breakdancing Meeples. This game's great. We picked it up this weekend. Haven't even had it that long, but we got some good plays out of it. And it was a good laugh. You roll your meeples. You put them on. You complete your routines by putting them on cards, depending on the way they land. And basically, that's how you score your points. So that is a good game. Came out of nowhere, but good stuff. Angie, what is your game for this month?
This game is a little bit more relaxing than that, but it is Legacy of You. It is a solo legacy game by Shum Phillips and Garfield Games. You gets to rally the troops, his town folk, and he is going to hold off the flood by building his canal. But you need to make sure the barbarians don't overrun it beforehand. So you have 3 ways to lose in this game, only 1 way to win. You can either win 8 times or you can lose 8 times. The game's not easy. It's very challenging for everybody, but it is a lot of fun.
Yeah, you really love that game.
I do.
That's a good game for you. And now we went from busting that move with Meeples to something a little bit more calm and centering. Chakra. I've been looking for this game for a while, and we got lucky. We stopped in a game store this month that we've never been in before, and there it was on the shelf, and whew, I snatched that up, and here it is. So simple game, really quick to learn, and the rules aren't that hard either. Basically, you're drafting crystals, you're placing them on your player board, and you have to match the colors of your crystals to the chakras, right? And once you get 5, the first person to get 5 of their chakras filled, they're the winner. Now, what's really cool about this is you only have a certain amount of moves on your turn. And in order to get your turns back, basically,
you rest.
You meditate. You meditate. And by meditating, you have a chance to take a sneak peek at the score tokens, so you know kind of which color chakra you want to go with the alignment for max points. So Chakra, pretty cool game. If you get a chance to play it, you should. And that was it, right?
That's it.
That's it. That's our games of the month. And Angie, where's my cardboard? I'm ready to bust some moves. No?
We're out of cardboard. No, there's no cardboard anywhere in the house.
All right, well, I guess I'm not busting those moves. I don't want to bust a hip anyway, so see you next month.
And that wraps up today's show. I hope you've enjoyed. Please check out all of the creators involved. Their links will be in the description box below. And there's nothing stopping you being on this show either. There will be a link to a Discord in the box below. Join that, chat, and, well, everyone is welcome on the show. Until next time, which will be at the end of the next month, have a great month gaming.